Now, the Bitcoin billionaire said that Bitcoin would go to $10 million tomorrow if everybody knew what he did or what he knows in this new bombshell interview that he did recently. But at the same time, Forbes and people all over X or Twitter, however you want to call it, are speculating that Saylor could potentially be at risk of selling his Bitcoin depending on how far the price dumps. But before we get into all of that, I have the clip for you guys. It is very interesting and extremely spicy. Let's check it out.
Volatility was a gift to the faithful. It scares away the tourist. It scares away the lazy. It scares away the people that are already conventionally rich, that have all the money. If you're a 20-something or a 30-something and you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to spend 100 hours or 200 hours, if you have more time than money, then the volatility of Bitcoin is a gift to you. If you have more money than time and you're arrogant and egotistical and you just pick the obvious, then if the volatility goes away, you buy Bitcoin. If people in the rest of the world knew what I know and they understood and they agreed with me, Bitcoin would go to $10 million tomorrow. And if Bitcoin went to $10 million tomorrow, I want you to think about how you would feel and how your viewers would feel, because you would lose 20 years of stacking opportunity during which you get to buy at less than $10 million. So the difference between $10 million and 100,000, that's what you give up if the volatility goes.
I mean, okay, a couple things to unpack there. We're going to reorder. Thank you, Opti. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. This is starting to sound like a cult. At least our cult is dope. Like, the fiat cult sucks. Like, they got a pyramid on the back of the dollar. It's like all sketchy and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of, but at least number does go up. Like, Saylor is right. But another thing that I'll kind of point out to you guys, right? And maybe I'm like reading too much into it, but his body language there compared to his body language right before the Digital Asset Summit at the White House was like night and day. Like, before the Digital Asset Summit, he was like, I believe it was on CNBC. His back was completely straight and he had a giant smile on his face. And like, now it's a little bit different. It's a little bit tempered, right? But I do want to give MicroStrategy credit where credit is due, because at the end of the day, it has held up pretty well compared to the rest of the market that has been absolutely, just crushed, right? So that's my take there. And another thing I'll say too about this like $10 million prediction, again, this is coming from his thesis that he laid out, or the presentation he laid out at the Bitcoin Nashville conference, where he essentially laid out, he's like, look, it's either going to hit $5 million per coin, $13 million per coin, or $50 million per coin by the year 2045. So like 20 years from now. My base case is 13 million. And also it should, compound 40% and it'll stabilize around 20%. But you're hearing all that. And I actually was like running some numbers yesterday. I think the reason that a lot of us potentially might feel frustrated, especially if you've been here, this full cycle. And I was actually texting this to Opti yesterday. If you go back and you look at the growth of Bitcoin for the last 4 years, it's been 40%. If you go from April 8th today to April 8th, 2021 or whatever, Bitcoin's only gone up 40%. Now, I know I'm like picking and choosing dates. I know that was like the top of the last bull, and then there was a bear and it went down to 16 and now it's back at 78. But it's still hurt. You still feel it that it's only been 40%. Now, to be fair, if you extend it out to 5 years instead of 4 years, Bitcoin is actually up 1,000%. So 10x, right? So what a difference a year can make. And another thing that I'll say too, to add to like what Saylor was talking about regarding the $10 million Bitcoin, and like if people knew what he knows and if they would agree with him, et cetera, I think this is going to take a little bit longer than people anticipated. I think Bitcoin is big enough where it's a macro asset. I think it's getting affected by just what's going on globally with the tariffs and the current monetary policy of the Fed. I think it was Opti that was telling me this. Bitcoin has only existed in a QE environment. We've been in a QT environment. Now there is plans, or people are expecting the Fed to change course in the summer, and the money printer goes burr. Trump can't get his agenda passed without the money printer. I'm extremely bullish about what I think Bitcoin's going to do in the next 4 years during the Trump administration. We don't the end of Operation Choke Point 2.0. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw $300,000 to $400,000 Bitcoin the next 2-3 years. So yeah, I mean that's my take on that. I think 10 million is going to take a lot longer than what Saylor is saying. I mean, to be fair, he's not saying that Bitcoin's going to hit $10 million tomorrow. He's saying that if everyone knew what he knew and they agreed with him, it would already be at 10 million. But he's also making the case that that's the opportunity, right? That's the opportunity. And I think he was making the case for younger people. Like if you're in your 20s and 30s and you want an edge and you want an opportunity, buy Bitcoin. I think that's what he was making the case for. But his body language to me did seem a little bit interesting compared to what it was, 4 or 5 weeks ago. And I don't blame him. I mean, look at the volatility. This is crazy. Everyone says that hodling is easy. It's not. And I think if you've been hodling this year, you are kind of having an understanding of why that is, right? Lots of ups and downs. But yeah, they don't call it hodl for no reason. Anyways, I'm going to pass it on to our special guest today, founder of BTC Trading Cards. We got Aladdin in the house. Aladdin, what are your thoughts, man? I mean, it did sound very culty, right? What Saylor was saying, it's like, look, if you're in this certain age group, Bitcoin's going to be really good for you. You're going to really like it. If you're already rich, it's, you're not even going to care. So yeah, I mean, what was your take on that video? It seemed interesting, and I got to give it to the production too, because they had this kind of side angle, and it was definitely on a dolly, so it was moving. It was pretty cool. Added dimension to the shot. But I want to get your thoughts on this, Aladdin. What's going on, man? I think people were expecting 150K by now, man. This cycle,
we were promised 150K, Nico.
This cycle is completely. Did you guys see the Plan B? His predictions.
I saw that tweet, but I didn't look at it.
They were so nuts. It was Bitcoin should be at $1 million by December. By now, it should have been at 250. It was so absurd, in my opinion. Aladdin, what's your take on this, man? What's happening? How are you handling this Bitcoin cycle? I'm not going to call it a bull cycle, but how are you handling this Bitcoin cycle so far? Do you still think we have Omega candles ahead of us? Do you think we peaked at 109,000? What's your take on Saylor's, on how Saylor's stance, how he's feeling? What's your take, Aladdin?
It's probably just indigestion, guys. No, I mean, he's pretty well connected. We know this. When they came out and said that the Trump family's been friends with Michael for a long time, I mean, that said a lot right there. I mean, all these countries, there's so much going on behind the scenes that we would never imagine. I think it is so big of what is actually happening behind the scenes. It's like the red pill. Once you really start going down it, these are things that most people would never imagine possible. So I think he's pretty calm in the end when it comes to where we're going to go with this. I mean, the U.S. government has strategic Bitcoin reserves. So at this point, if it does dip down, it's just a buying opportunity for him, for everyone, for the big guys. I mean, shit, when you're able to borrow money at nothing, imagine if we had unlimited credit and we were able to borrow like these guys can borrow. We'd be begging for the price to go down and grab up as much as we can. But I mean, with the price standing as strong as it is right now, I think that's incredibly bullish. I haven't seen so much FUD in the market since the end of 2017, 2018, during that crash. And literally it's all over and we are literally just getting started. I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is the president we have right now is shaking shit up like no other president in history. Call it good, bad. I don't I don't really agree with either side or any of it, but the one thing I can say is this president is different than any president we've ever had. And I'll say he's different than the president we had when he was in office last time. He's on a completely different mission. So we really have to just hold on to our seats and be prepared for some major volatility across the board, because he's doing shit that I personally never would have imagined. I didn't think we were going to get a strategic Bitcoin reserve until 2030, 2040, if ever. So this is an incredibly bullish situation for us to be in. And I think everyone just needs to try to hold on, buy the dip as much as you can. I heard a lot of people talking about buying at 100K. I can't wait to buy at 100K. This happens every single cycle. Everyone is super excited to buy all the way up. But as soon as it comes back down, everyone's freaking out. And I get it. We don't have the gains right now. But at the end of the day, most Bitcoiners brag about never selling their Bitcoin. Michael brags about never selling his Bitcoin. So does it really matter at that point?
That's actually a really perfect segue to this Forbes article, because some people, it was initially a screenshot that was found on X, and it was making the rounds. And essentially, I do want to address that today. And I did a lot of research in terms of like what price levels would MicroStrategy, or they renamed Strategy, would they be in trouble, right? Because at the end of the day, like Saylor did borrow money to buy Bitcoin. It's kind of like this like leveraged, it's this leveraged Bitcoin play. Like that's really what it is. It's a Bitcoin holding company, but they borrowed money, even though the rates are extremely favorable. We don't get, no one in retail gets that type of those types of deals. At the end of the day, they did borrow money to buy Bitcoin. So at what price, would Saylor potentially be in trouble? I did a lot of research going into this, and I'll bring that up at the end. So Saylor Strategy issues shock Bitcoin sell warning amid devastating $10,000 price crash prediction. It goes on to say, Bitcoin has swung wildly over the last week as traders scramble to get ahead of a crisis scenario for the Bitcoin price. It goes on to say, now as Wall Street giants stare down the barrel of an existential Bitcoin and crypto game changer, Michael Saylor's software company turned Bitcoin buyer Strategy has warned it could be forced to sell some of its Bitcoin to meet its financial obligations. I mean, again, is this going to happen? No one knows, right? Like no one knows where the Bitcoin price is going to go. If there's been a single lesson from this cycle, it's that. No one has any idea what's happening. I think I saw American Hodl post the other day. It's like, coming from an OG, I have no idea what's going on. So definitely uncharted territory. And I think that's because of just the general macro environment. But anyways, the article continues to say, and this is an article from Forbes for the audio listeners, as Bitcoin constitutes the vast bulk of assets on our balance sheet, if we were unable to secure equity or debt financing in a timely manner on favorable terms or at all, we may be required to sell Bitcoin to satisfy financial obligations, and we may be required to make such sales at prices below our cost basis that are otherwise unfavorable. I mean, I think that's legalese. I think they're forced to do that. I think their lawyers are like, look, guys, you have to put it in the fine print. But we're going to get into what those price levels would be. So anyway, Strategy said it's expecting to record a near $6 billion unrealized loss for the first quarter, despite a related $1.69 billion income tax benefit, warned it might not be able to regain profitability in future quarters, especially if the value of its Bitcoin continues to plummet. Quote, a significant decrease in the market value of our Bitcoin holdings could adversarially affect our ability to satisfy our financial obligations. And this was what I was mentioning earlier on. Strategy's stock price has almost halved since soaring to its November peak that saw it inducted into the prestigious NASDAQ 100 index. Strategy, which currently owns almost 530,000 Bitcoin worth nearly $42 billion that were bought for an average of $67,000 per coin, has fueled its Bitcoin buys by selling convertible bonds and issuing stock. At the end of March, Strategy held around $8 billion worth of debt, on which it owes about $35 million per year in interest, on top of almost $150 million it must pay every year in dividends on its stock. Meanwhile, crypto analysts are desperately trying to predict where the market is headed next, with one closely watched analyst issuing a Bitcoin price prediction that could see Bitcoin crash back to around $10,000. I highly doubt that. But who did it come from? It came everyone's in for the long run as long as it's going up. Bloomberg Intelligence senior commodity strategist Mike McGlone wrote in a report posted to X, "I did not know how Bitcoin was going to get to 100,000 from 10,000 in 2020, but the trend showed up. Now I see the reversion path back to 10,000." I personally think like that is, again, no one knows, but I highly doubt Bitcoin's going back to 10,000. And if it does, like, oh my God, we're going to have to rechange the channel name, Opti, to Simply Fiat, bro. We just
Simply 10K.
Simply 10K. Anyhow, so let's get to some of this. And this is like a summary of where those price points would be. So in summary, MicroStrategy has no imminent margin call level, but the company is highly leveraged to Bitcoin's price. If Bitcoin stays strong or continues rising, the strategy can thrive. If Bitcoin plunges far below the company's average cost, MicroStrategy could face mounting financial stress, increasing risk of shareholder dilution. Investors and analysts closely watch certain price benchmarks. For example, mid 60K Bitcoin is roughly the break even for newer purchases and was a support level for MicroStrategy's recent financing assumptions, while 30K BTC would start to significantly cut into the firm's equity cushion. Anything near 15K or below could be dire. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, we don't know what the future holds. Everyone was talking about this supposed Black Monday that was imminent, that it was coming. It never came. So, like, no one knows what's going on right now. This tariff stuff, the uncertainty in the markets, it's crazy. A lot of people were expecting Bitcoin to follow previous cycles like it always does, but it didn't. It never did any of those things. So I'm going to pass it on to Opti. Opti, what's your take on this, bro? I mean, is it a possibility? Yes. Do I see it happening? I don't think so. But in Bitcoin, anything could happen. Opti, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, 10K is just crazy talk. Like, it's never going to 10K again. Yeah, I think we can safely say that that is the case. Even if there was some kind of, 2020 like crash, 10K is never going to happen. It didn't even do that the last time it crashed, so it's not going to do that this time. Like, that is a ridiculous, FUD prediction here. But and someone just said, now we're talking about body language. I think Saylor's just still feeling what we're all feeling right now. Nico said that to me last night. It's like the last 4 years, of course, we're talking about Nico Schiff here, cherry picking price predictions and
it's not,
games
hold
here.
on. I'm going to interrupt you for a second. It's not. First of all, smash the like button. By the way, we just broke 600 live viewers on YouTube. If you guys are enjoying today's content, smash that like button. Help us break 100 likes within the first 25 minutes of the show. Smash that like button. Really, really helps with the algos. Okay, so no. So what I said was this. It was very precise, and I want to get Aladdin's thoughts on this. Okay, so what I said was this. If you go back to exactly April 8th of 2021, 4 years ago, the price has only gone up 40%. If you go back 5 years ago, the price has gone up 1,000%, right? So a year can make a big difference, but I think what we're all feeling, like as this collective mindset of Bitcoin X, this collective consciousness, is we're feeling that 40%. Like we're like, yo, what the fuck? What is going on? Like, I want my dose. I want my dopamine hit. Like, what is happening? What is going on here? That's what I mean. That's what I think is happening. Anyways, Aladdin, I would love to get your take on this, bro. What are your thoughts?
I mean, maybe I'm more red-pilled than most. I spent the last 9 years studying as much as I could across every sector. And I've went down some pretty deep rabbit holes. At the end of the day, again, these guys have their strategy. Michael Saylor has a strategy. The guy is, for whatever he is as a person, most of it we don't know. But I do know the guy is beyond intelligent, and he's got a strategy. BlackRock has a strategy. They're all working together in one way or another, and this is not a surprise to any of them, in my opinion. I mean, obviously I could be wrong. What do I know? But from what I've studied, it goes deeper than most of us could fathom. Again, And I don't think 10 grand is ever in play again. We have the Trump's cabinet is fully on board with Bitcoin. There's just so many amazing things that are happening with Bitcoin right now over the last few months. Again, things that I wouldn't have imagined for another 10, 20 years that are all in play. And with the banks now having the opportunity to jump in full bore, all these things, I mean, they're just throwing FUDs so that they could buy the living shit out of Bitcoin as cheap as possible, run as many of us out as possible, and buy the dip. I think we all have to be really careful to just check all the reasons we've been in Bitcoin this whole time. And the biggest thing, I think that the elite oligarchies, whatever we want to call these people, they understand is it's more than number go up. The majority of us people that are in Bitcoin, we're in Bitcoin because it's freedom money. And the last thing that they want is a bunch of freedom-minded people to be insanely rich, because we will have the opportunity to have our own lobbyists and play the game back. So I think this whole entire thing goes a lot deeper than most people can imagine. And we just need to try and ignore the FUD as much as possible, buy the dip, and keep stacking.
I think absolute bars from Aladdin. I completely agree. And I think this cycle too, I think a lot of people essentially have forgotten why we're here, right? They see the ETFs. Like I remember it was like a very predominant, followed account on X. And he was basically something along the lines of like, hey guys, I've just gone ahead and I've just converted all my Bitcoin to ETFs, right? Like the core mission here is fix the money, fix the world, right? And the power of Bitcoin is individuals reclaiming back their financial sovereignty and their power and their independence and their individualism by taking back control of their money and putting it in self-custody. That completely changes the discussions, the balance of power, the discussion. It's like, it goes, the Second Amendment is very similar in the US, right? Like the Second Amendment acts as kind of like a check. That was the whole point of why the founders put it in the Constitution, and they made it the Second Amendment, not the Fifth or the Sixth, right? Bitcoin can function as a check to essentially governments going absolutely wild with the money printer. That's really how I see Bitcoin. But again, if you're dealing within the traditional financial system, or if you're buying, if you're not buying spot Bitcoin, like, okay, you could do whatever you want with your money, but like, I think it's really important to remember the core mission here, which is what Aladdin was talking about. Anyways, Opti, do you have some thoughts? We're about to break 2,000 live viewers on the live stream. Appreciate you guys watching the show, supporting the show. If you guys are enjoying the show so far, again, help us break 200 likes within the first 30 minutes of the show. Smash that like button. We already blew past 600 live viewers on YouTube alone. So Opti, what are your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what Aladdin was saying. And I think to kind of drive the point home of what you were saying earlier of even the Bitcoiners, we're starting to feel like, man, we're getting worn out, right? And this is usually the time when, or at least when that feeling comes around in like market psychology, this is usually when Bitcoin starts ripping. So the fact that a lot of us Bitcoiners are just like worn out, we're like, yeah, we're literally the meme right now, like, worn out, just torn up, black bags under our eyes. We're just like, please, sir, pump our bags here. And this just makes me feel that this is when the price is going to start ripping. Probably it's going to go sideways for a little bit, and then it's just going to, it's going to be max pain, as we always say on Twitter, and a lot of Bitcoiners say. It's like Bitcoin always does the opposite of what we think it's going to do, and then it always goes the path of max pain. And right now, I think we could argue that just Bitcoin going sideways or kind of consolidation again is max pain, considering this does feel like the most bullish cycle in regards to news coming out, like really bullish, good news coming out in regards to adoption levels and Bitcoin going into different areas and like going to places that we probably couldn't imagine happening 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 6, 7, 10 years ago. And yet we're still here and we're like, what is going on? And so this does feel like the scenario of max pain right now. And the more Bitcoiners start yelling at each other and fighting each other on Twitter, and the more we start complaining about Bitcoin price, the more I know that at some point soon, this price is going to rip, and then everyone's going to go back to like kumbaya and just having fun. So this just seems like max pain scenario right now. But in regards to that, this is also the best buying opportunity, period. Like, It's the least risky time to buy Bitcoin. Sats are cheap right now, and we have a lot of bullish news coming out towards Bitcoin. So like, this should not be the time to be afraid of buying Bitcoin. Like, yes, we all know how the cycles work out. Like, with number go up means more adoption levels and more people come into Bitcoin. With number go up means that freedom goes up as well. But right now is like, people are asleep at the wheel. So if you have cash right now, if you have a job, at the very least, a job right now, and can save in Bitcoin, this is when you should be buying. As the saying always goes, when there's blood on the streets, this is when you buy Bitcoin. And the fact that we're all kind of feeling the pain, like the fact that even Saylor seems to be kind of feeling the pain, like he's the richest guy ever. He's about to be like the first trillionaire on planet Earth. And you can tell that he's even starting to feel frustrated and annoyed about what's going on in the Bitcoin price and the Bitcoin field in general. I think that's signal to just continue to double down, and it's going to start ripping. Do we know when? No, obviously. Maybe it's months from, maybe it's going to be a slow summer, like the 2017 cycle, slow summer, and then it rips towards the end of the year. But I think the fact we're all kind of feeling a same feeling, even though we're trying to have fun and, you know, look at all the uncertainty, this is just bullish, man. Like if we're complaining about an 80K Bitcoin price, like we've made it, man.
Absolutely. Guys, this is going to be a hell of a show. We got a lot of things lined up for you guys. First, we're going to be covering a thread by Jack Mallers kind of explaining what's happening, just like what is happening. What, like, you're hearing this talk about tariffs, the global markets are like falling off the cliff. If you see the S&P chart, it is literally falling off a cliff. It is gnarly, right? So he kind of does a breakdown of why this is happening. How Trump fits into the picture. You know, the whole promise was you guys are going to get tired of winning. The whole promise was, Bitcoin's going to the moon. Those things haven't happened yet, right? So it's like, did Trump rug us? No, this is all part of the plan, right? And if you've been listening to what the Treasury Secretary has been saying, Treasury Secretary Bassett, he did an incredible interview with Tucker Carlson. Highly recommend watching it. Does the breakdown. But this was the promise to Trump's base, right? Trump's base are the middle class, the working class. And they've gotten they've gotten the short end of the stick in the last 30, 40 years, right? This is what the whole, MAGA movement is all about. And again, don't want to get political, but this is what Trump promised he was going to do, right? And this is all part of the tariff policy. But anyways, how it relates to Bitcoin, though, is that for Trump to fulfill his agenda, he's going to need the money printer, right? And a lot of people are speculating that he purposely crashed the market in order to force Powell's hand, right? So anyways, I think the printer is coming. Larry Lepard just wrote a book called The Big Print. I think it's inevitable. And again, when they start printing money, Bitcoin tends to go up, infinity divided by 21 million. Anyways, guys, so we're going to talk about that. And then during the news segment, we got some great news. The U.S. Justice Department ends crypto enforcement unit. Again, elections have consequences. And then during the culture, we're going to talk to our friend Aladdin of BTC Trading Cards. They just dropped a new series. We're going to be talking about it. We might be doing a live card opening on stream. It's going to be a great show, so stay tuned. We're going to be right back. But before we jump into the numbers segment, I do want to give a very special shout out to Simply Bitcoin's lead sponsor, by far the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack. Why is it the best place? Because it's automatic self-custody. What does that mean? That means that when you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, as soon as the funds clear, it goes straight to your self-custody Bitcoin wallet address. They don't even allow you to leave the Bitcoin on the exchange. This is the right way to do it. This is the hard way to do it, and they're doing it right. If you're a high net worth individual and you're looking to buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin or more, check out Bitcoin Well Infinite. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. You can book a call today. You're going to have a dedicated representative from Bitcoin Well every time you want to buy or sell Bitcoin. You're tired of dealing with finicky UI. You're tired of dealing with You just want a real human being that you can call anytime you want to buy or sell Bitcoin. You have to check out Bitcoin Well Infinite. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. And again, every time you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, you earn something called Bitcoin Well points. And you could use those points towards the Bitcoin Wishing Well contest. We just did it live for you guys. First person to scan the QR code has won 210 sats. If you sign up to bitcoinwell.com today using bitcoinwell.com/simply and use promo code simplybtc, you get 3 tosses into the wishing well. Every toss, you have an opportunity to win up to 1 million Satoshis. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinwell.com/simply today. All right, everybody, let's get to the numbers. We have tons to talk about. We will be right back. I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Stampseed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed words really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of writing them down on paper. Don't do that. Paper sucks. You want to literally stamp your seed into this plate of titanium. Your words are actually stamped into the metal plate with this hammer. So once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and your pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and most importantly, because this is generational wealth, time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin for the long haul. I mean, here is the plate that they crushed. They put in water, they put a blowtorch to it, and as you can see, the words have survived. Stamp your seed on Stampseed. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. Head over to stampseed.com today. All right, everybody, we are back. If you guys are enjoying today's show, make sure to smash that like button. We're already at 171 likes. Help us break 200 likes, guys. Smash that like button. I think we peaked at 660 live viewers on YouTube alone. So smash that like button. 2,200 live viewers in total. And of course, shout out to the Rumble audience, the most hardcore audience, just constantly crapping on me and Opti every single episode, nonstop. Mostly me. The YouTube audience is more favorable to me. And anyways,
shout out the Rumble audience.
Opti's on Team Rumble. I'm on Team. I like Rumble too. I'm on both teams. Opti's just on Team Rumble. Anyways, At the timer, scan the QR code, guys. Go to stampseed.com. Use promo code simply 15% off anything on the store. Store your seed phrase the correct way. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $77,210. Block height 891,525. Sats per dollar 1,294. Market cap 1.53 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap 7.27%. Percentage issued 94.51%. Decline from all-time high negative 29.2%, realized monetary inflation 0.87%. In the grand scheme of things, this just continues to go down. Even if fiat money could get, even if the Fed, I think the inflation rate is like below 2%. Anyways, even if they get it back to that magical 2% number, it's at 0.87%. And that number, when me and Opti started covering that, right? It seems like the most inconsequential number on Clark Moody's dashboard. But when me and Opti started covering Bitcoin's realized monetary inflation over the last 365 days, it was over 3% when me and Opti started covering that, right? So, and this is going to go down forever, right? Anyways, so here's Jack Mallers. I did see his podcast yesterday. I forget what the name of his podcast is. And it was just kind of covering what was happening and, you know, why the Bitcoin price is reacting the way it is, what's going on with the general kind of macroeconomic landscape, and how is Bitcoin going to perform in this environment. Jack Mallers he covered it on his podcast, and this is like a threaded version of what he said, but I think it was a very kind of great summary. So he starts off with saying, we are witnessing the unwind of the World War II economic order. What's happening now is much bigger than tariffs. For nearly 80 years, the U.S. exported dollars while importing goods and debt. That system is failing. What's next? A move back to a neutral reserve currency. Got Bitcoin? After World War II, the world was decimated. The U.S. was the only industrial power left standing. Europe and Japan were in ruins. The world needed to be rebuilt. and the US took the lead. How? The US funded global reconstruction with efforts like the Marshall Plan and Bretton Woods. The idea was simple. The US would buy foreign goods, run trade deficits, spend dollars abroad, and let other countries produce stuff. In return, other countries would use the dollar as the global reserve currency, accumulating US debt as their savings. In essence, the world gets dollars, the US gets goods. The system did what it was supposed to do and fueled decades of growth. Japan, Germany, South Korea, and eventually China all industrialized by producing goods for Americans. The US kept printing dollars, and the world kept accepting them because they sort of had no other choice. The issue was that this wasn't sustainable. Printing pieces of paper and not doing any real work couldn't last forever. No way. Who would have thought? The US was sending dollars out while manufacturing left the country. Over time, the US became a customer and not a producer. In summary, the problem is the US can't run permanent trade deficits forever. The US deindustrialized itself, manufacturing jobs gone, middle class crushed. Meanwhile, China rose by taking over global production. All the while, the US racked up $35 trillion in debt, and other nations began to question the system. Why hold US debt as reserves while USD loses value? This is where the Triffin dilemma comes in. If the US dollar is the global reserve, the US must run deficits to supply the world with dollars. But doing this hollows out the domestic economy, forcing the US to import more than exports. The global demand for dollars keeps the dollar artificially strong, making US goods less competitive and pushing manufacturers overseas. It's a trap. And finally, it is failing. This is why the U.S. needs to reshore production and weaken the dollar. If the U.S. wants to bring back manufacturing, it needs to make American production competitive again. And that means two things. Number one, tariffs. Force companies to stop offshoring production. Number two, a weakened dollar. Make U.S. exports cheaper and more attractive. This is exactly what Trump and this new administration is pushing for. You see, tariffs are not just about trade. They're part of a larger strategy to shift the U.S. economic model. A weaker dollar makes U.S. exports more competitive and also helps inflate away its debt. However, one problem Trump has run into is Jerome Powell. The U.S. government doesn't control the U.S. dollar. A private bank does. The Fed isn't cutting rates fast enough for Trump to keep his campaign promises and execute his plans. This is where Trump's battle with the Fed begins. This is something that we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks. Anyways, the thread goes on, but I do want to eventually talk about Bitcoin, because this is why you guys are tuning into Simply Bitcoin. Anyways, at the same time, it's no secret that the rest of the world is moving away from dollar. China, Russia, even Saudi Arabia no longer want to rely on USD for trade. The BRICS nations are exploring alternatives. Countries are selling US treasuries and reducing their dollar reserves. This means we're heading back to a neutral reserve currency system, one way or the other. And then Jack theorizes that that neutral reserve system is going to be based on Bitcoin. Historically, global reserve currencies were neutral assets like gold under the Bretton Woods system. The problem in today's digital economy of 8 billion people, gold requires trust to work. Gold cannot achieve transaction finality without a trusted intermediary. For that reason, it has centralized and is easily manipulated. Zoom out. We're watching the global monetary order reset in real time. The World War II economic model is breaking down. The U.S. is reshoring and weakening the dollar. The world is de-dollarizing. The Fed will be forced to cut rates. Money printer go burr. The U.S. will inflate away its debt. Bitcoin will absorb the shift. This isn't just another trade war. It's a global monetary alignment. Got Bitcoin. That's an incredibly awesome summary by Jack Mallers. Again, he covered this on his show yesterday. That was a written summary of just that. Incredible breakdown. 100% agree with him. We're witnessing history in the making. And again, think about the series of events that led up to this crazy election. Think about where Bitcoin played a role, right? This was nuts. This is the first election where Bitcoiners actively played a role in the political process. Trump capitalized on the fact that the opposing party was hostile towards the industry. He saw an opportunity to get voters, and he promised the Bitcoin industry that he would end Operation Choke Point 2.0. and free Ross Ulbricht. I think we got more than what we expected, as what Aladdin was talking about earlier on in the episode. I was personally not expecting a strategic Bitcoin reserve. In January, they were talking about a digital assets reserve, right? And then all of a sudden he comes swinging. It's like the digital assets will be siloed, and a Bitcoin reserve will be a Bitcoin reserve. And Ross was freed, and they repealed SAB 121, and they ended Operation Choke Point 2.0, and all of this amazing bullish news. We did our part as Bitcoiners. We got the orange man elected, and you know what we got in return? The price has just completely fucking dumped since Inauguration Day. Excuse my language. So, it's kind of like an upside down world, but I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think that once we get over this rough patch, once this realignment kind of, becomes more certain, I think the price is going to pump like there's no tomorrow, because as Jack was alluding to, the Fed's not going to have a choice but make money printer go burr. They're not going to have a choice. Anyways, Aladdin, I know I've been rambling for a while. What are your thoughts on Mahler's excellent thread?
I mean, yeah, if this really happens, if we go into what he's thrown out there, which I think we have major potential to do, I mean, it's the perfect setup right now to FUD as many people out of their Bitcoin as possible, get as many people to sell as they can. Back to the Saylor, if some FUD comes out on Saylor, he is a perfect catalyst. I have seen the change in the Bitcoin community over the last few years, the Bitcoin Twitter space in general, that I really didn't expect, because we were such a powerhouse in like 2022 coming into that bear market, and it was all the right ethos. It's don't trust, verify. Bitcoin doesn't give a shit. It's the honey badger. And then we started really kind of giving our faith towards individuals and certain people. Bitcoin also teaches you to slay your heroes. And here we are over the last few years building heroes in the space. So we're really going the opposite direction now of how we were going. And what I see, like with what Jack was talking about, if this comes true, then what I personally, my prediction of what I see coming is trying to shake out as many people as possible, throw the FUD out there, knock out as many Bitcoiners as possible. And then Samson Mao's whole idea comes true, and we've got a card on that. It's the Omega candle. And if Bitcoin does some crazy parabolic pump, the unit bias, even to hardcore Bitcoiners that have been around, that unit bias is going to blow them out of the water, and we'll have some really big hodlers, and we'll have a nice small community of Bitcoiners that win massively. And the majority of people, if Bitcoin's sitting at $300,000-$400,000 and it happens anytime soon with an Omega candle, most people are done at that point. They're not going to be dollar cost averaging. Even some of the strongest and most bullheaded Bitcoiners are going to be like, I missed the boat. I'm not buying anymore. It's $400,000, $500,000. General public, I think there's a big disconnect in our space, in our bubble, to the general public. And when we deal with them every day, most people have no clue what Bitcoin is, and the unit bias is huge. We needed to be pricing Bitcoin in sats to the general public way earlier on. Bitcoin hits $300,000-$400,000. The majority of the world that isn't already in Bitcoin is definitely not going to jump in at that point. The banks are going to win. Big government's going to win. The people that are holding on to Bitcoin are going to win. And everyone else, sadly, they're not going to have a ticket on the life raft. And this is what I've been preaching for years. Get your ticket on the life raft before it takes off. Every dip is a buying opportunity. Every dip is a blessing. So I hope what Jack is talking about comes true. But honestly, I would personally hope that we would have more time. I don't want to see it take off this fast, because I don't think there are many people that have a ticket on the life raft, and it's going to be sad. So maybe not a popular opinion that I want there to be more time for people to get in. And even though I would love to make some gains for sure, the biggest gain that we're going to get is having as many of the everyday people, mom and pops, mom and dads, grandmas, kids, have the opportunity to stack. And my fear is if we do this parabolic Omega candle, most people are not going to stack. Then they're going to shit coins. They're going to the next best thing in their mind, and that'll be a sad day. So that bittersweet kind of situation, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with a lot. And guys, you're listening to Simply Bitcoin Live, 682 live viewers on YouTube alone, 2,500 live viewers between YouTube and X. And of course, shout out to the most hardcore audience in the game, the Rumble audience. Smash that like button if you guys are enjoying the show. We're at 241 likes, blew past our goal of 200 likes. Help us break 300 likes by the time the show ends. So smash that like button if you guys are enjoying the show. Simply Bitcoin Live. Anyways, Opti, what's your opinion on this, bro? 2-minute hit, and then we'll move on to a new segment. We are running a little bit long. What did you think about Jack Mallers' epic thread regarding the change of the global economic order?
Yeah, well, first of all, I am like Mulder right now from X-Files. I really want to believe that this is the case. And Jack Mallers isn't the only one that's been saying, you guys know I love watching Nolan every morning, and he's been saying the same thing for a long time, that what we're seeing is the realignment of economics globally, or monetary realignment, and the end of the World War II war machine. And it does seem like this is the scenario. I hate to be a like trust a plan 5D chess kind of guy, but it does seem like this is the case going on right now. And if this is the case, then I think we will be going into a bright orange future. But as Aladdin said, in the time being, a lot of people are going to get hurt, and we all know what's going to happen. Eventually, as Larry Lepard's been saying, the big print is going to happen. And yes, on a long enough time frame, that will restructure society and things will most likely get better. But in the short term, a lot of people are going to get hurt. And this is why we constantly come out here and say, this is your opportunity to get on the safety boat, get on the exit boat here, which is Bitcoin, because we're seeing a lot of these things play out. If you are looking at all the data, it does seem as if this is the direction we're going. We're seeing a monetary reset because the U.S., at least this administration, is at the very least acknowledging that the Trifflin dilemma is a thing they have to contest with. And I think Scott Besson is a very smart dude. And I think these are the conversations that they are having, because it does seem as if this is the course we're going on. But as we're seeing with a lot of people right now, stock markets are getting wrecked. NASDAQ's getting wrecked. S&P 500 are getting wrecked. It seems like a lot of older people's, the boomers here. Sorry, I'm mixing up my age class here. They are complaining about their retirements, and it does seem as if this monetary reset does happen, a lot of people that thought and based their hopes and their retirement on the system working as it is are going to be absolutely devastated. And this is something that we don't want to see. This is kind of why I think Aladdin and I agree on, I would like to see a slower progression of the Bitcoin price going up, because if Bitcoin pumps at an incredible, I forget what the candles are now, God candle or a mega candle, 100K plus type candles, that usually, or well, at least in my opinion, mean that something is fundamentally broken in the system. And I don't think we've gotten to a point yet where people can fully comprehend what is going on. And that just means a lot of poor and destitute people that basically base their whole, 40, 50, 60 years of life on the system working as it is. And us millennials and Gen Zers, especially as millennials, we've gone through, I think, what now, like our fourth, economic opportunity of a lifetime, or devastation of a lifetime. And I saw a funny meme, and I don't know what happened to Nico. He seemed to popped off. It was the Ben Affleck smoking a cigarette, and it's like millennials preparing for their next economic devastation. And we're just sitting here. This is just how we grew up. Every defining moment in my adult life has been marked by something insane happening, and it seems as if we're gearing into another one. So I really do hope we are going towards this monetary reset. I think only time will tell whether this is the case or whether these mechanisms are in fact working. As we're seeing, it doesn't seem as if the Fed or even what Trump and Besson are doing has the effect they wanted to. So maybe the money printer is going to get turned on a lot faster than we think it will, and it's going to leave a trail of devastation. So I just hope a lot of people are starting to at least learn that there is something else and they need to hold Bitcoin, because it's going to get bad. And I don't want to live in a Mad Max society. I like living in, the status quo type societies we live in, slow progressing towards something better. But who knows where we go? Who knows if they can keep the system going?
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, guys, I dropped out. I'm in Puerto Rico right now, and
Your mic. You need to check your mic again.
It should be working. Should be good.
Oh yeah, you're in.
Yeah, sorry I dropped out, guys. I'm in Puerto Rico. The power's kind of going in. Anyways, guys, it's gonna be a great show. Smash that like button. We still have loads to talk about. We're gonna be transitioning to the news segment. We're gonna be talking about the U.S. Justice Department ends crypto enforcement unit. Elections have consequences. I've kept telling you guys this stuff so many times during election season. All you guys are giving me crap. And I was like, look, guys, it's not about red versus blue. It's not about left versus right. It's not about liberal versus conservative. It's literally about, are you pro Bitcoin or are you anti Bitcoin, right? And as single issue voters here at Simply Bitcoin, that's really what mattered to us because our industry was literally getting under attack last year. There were points on the stream where me and Opti were seriously discussing moving to El Salvador. It was like that. I actually mentioned this to Senator Lummis when I interviewed her in DC. Like things are getting hairy, right? And then all the things that were uncovered after the fact. Like it was getting wild. Anyways, guys, smash the like button. We're gonna be right back. We're gonna hit the news segment, and it's gonna be a great show. Let's check it out. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Casa. Bitcoin security matters, but managing private keys can sometimes be complicated, especially multi-sig. What if you can secure your Bitcoin without worrying about losing a seed phrase or giving up custody? With Casa, you can completely control your Bitcoin with multi-key security, so even if one key is lost or stolen, your funds stay safe. No single point of failure, no stress. That's what I absolutely love about these guys. They make taking Bitcoin into self-custody incredibly easy with their best in industry user experience through their app. I've been personally recommending Casa for years now to my friends and family because they will get all the benefits of multi-key self-custody security without the hassle of having to learn complicated UI. And if you're thinking of one day passing on your Bitcoin to the next generation, their inheritance plan has you covered. Also, if you're a business looking to add Bitcoin to your treasury, do it the secure way with Casa for Business. To get started, go to casa.io today and get 5% off Casa Standard or Casa Premium with promo code SIMPLY. I want to give a shout out to our partner, CoinKite. If you take your Bitcoin security seriously, you'll need the best Bitcoin hardware wallet on the market to take self-custody. That's where Cold Card comes in. The Cold Card Q is the most advanced Bitcoin signing device ever made. It's got a full keyboard, larger screen, and NFC support, making air-gap signing easier than ever. It's built for power users who want the ultimate security without sacrificing usability. And if you're looking for a battle-tested, uncompromising cold storage, the Cold Card MK4 is your go-to with PSBT signing, an industrial-grade secure element, and USB-C. It's the perfect blend of security and convenience. Both devices are, of course, 100% Bitcoin only, open source, and built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. Secure your Bitcoin the right way with the Cold Card Q and the MK4. Head over to coldcard.com today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 5% off anything on the store. All right, everybody, we are back. Opti right now is currently modeling the Q. And again, if you use promo code SIMPLY, you will not get Opti, but you will get a discount on anything on the CoinKite store. Go check out Cold Card, the best hardware wallet in the game. Go check out the Q or the MK4. The Q is for power users. It has a full A to Z keyboard. It's completely open source, has 2 secure elements. This is the right way to secure your Bitcoin. You need a hardware wallet. You need to keep your Bitcoin in cold storage, and we recommend the Cold Card to do just that. All right, everybody, scan the QR code. Again, you get 5% off anything on the store, or go to coinkite.com, and then in the promo section, whatever, just put Simply and you get the discount. Anyways, let's check out this article by No BS Bitcoin. U.S. Justice Department ends crypto enforcement unit, marking significant policy shift. On Monday, the U.S. Department of Justice informed staff that it disbanded the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Unit, a division focused on crypto-related investigations. In a 4-page memo, U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche stated that this decision is effective immediately and aligns with Trump's January executive order on digital assets to establish regulatory clarity. The Justice Department is not a digital assets regulator. However, the prior administration used the Justice Department to pursue a reckless strategy of regulation by persecution. And remember what the consequences of that were, ladies and gentlemen. Do not forget, we had the Samurai Wallet developers arrested, the Tornado Cash developers arrested. They sanctioned Tornado Cash, setting the precedent that open source software could be sanctioned. That was another decision that was reversed during the recently elected Trump administration. Also, you had the denial of Caitlin Long's federal banking charter that would make her bank one of the first crypto Bitcoin focused banks, Custodia Bank, coming out of Wyoming, competitive with the national banks. Her federal banking charter was denied by her words, not mine. The orders came directly from the White House. So this essentially persecution of our industry, it ended with the election that happened in November. So yeah, don't forget all the things that happened. Again, the proposed 30% tax on Bitcoin miners, Samurai Wallet of Satoshi and Phoenix Wallet leaving. It was just announced on X, by the way, that Phoenix Wallet is back in the US. I suspect Wallet of Satoshi will follow in their footsteps sometime soon. So again, it's a good faith effort by the Trump administration to signal to the Bitcoin and crypto industry that, hey, you know what, guys, like you're no longer under fire. Now, we are a Bitcoin Maxi show. We're Bitcoiners first. So as Bitcoiners, we only believe there's only one true cryptocurrency. Everything else is inherently centralized. Everything else, the rules could be manipulated to benefit the founders or the foundations, whatever, the CEOs. Bitcoin is very unique. So like, obviously we know this, we don't agree. Like we think that Ethereum is a security, but again, kind of like as a libertarian, I would rather be in a situation where the government isn't picking winners and losers and let the free market determine what is going to win and what is going to lose, right? That might be an unpopular opinion with some Bitcoiners, but listen, guys, this is a two-party system in the US. We only had two choices. Choice number one was a pro-Bitcoin president, anti-CBDC president. Choice number two was an anti-Bitcoin president, pro-CBDC president. For me, it's very obvious. Was it the perfect choice? No. But I mean, we did get Ross freed. SAB 121 was repealed. End of Operation Choke Point 2.0. And the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, which did absolutely nothing to the price. But if you put that aside, I think the news was bullish, right? In the grand scheme of things. The National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Unit, established in 2021 under President Biden, was a joint task force comprising prosecutors from the DOJ's money laundering and cybercrime units, along with attorneys from other district offices. The unit played a role in major DOJ crypto cases, including the prosecution, I just talked about them, Tornado Cash and likely Samurai Wallet developers, as well as investigations into North Korean actors involved in laundering proceeds from various digital asset hacks. The U.S. Deputy Attorney General also instructed DOJ employees to prioritize prosecuting individuals who harm digital asset investors, shifting focus away from cases against exchanges, privacy tools such as mixers and tumblers, and self-custody wallets and related tools. Ongoing investigations that are inconsistent with the foregoing should be closed. The Office of the Attorney General will work with the Criminal Division and EEO USA to review ongoing cases for consistency against this policy. All previously issued policy and directives that are inconsistent with any of the foregoing are rescinded effective today. And yeah, I mean, pretty cool, I would say.
Wait, read that Peter tweet right there.
Yeah. So Peter Van Veckberg said, we wait to see what happens with the Tornado Cash and Samurai Wallet persecutions, but the memo from the Deputy Attorney General yesterday is right on target. We should be going after bad guys, not the developers of good tools that bad guys happen to use. I mean, this is what we've been saying. Like, wow, that is, I think those cases are going to get dismissed, in my opinion. And I mean, like, for all the people that were like giving us heat for the Orange Man, which I get it, guys, like put his politics aside. We're just focused on Bitcoin. From a Bitcoin regulatory perspective, the Orange Man was very positive for the industry. Maybe not positive for the price so far, but definitely positive for the industry from a regulatory perspective. Like this is incredible. Like if he frees Ross, gets rid of Tornado Cash case, gets rid of the Samurai Wallet persecutions, I mean, that'd be amazing. That'd be fantastic, right? So the only thing that's missing is, Orange Man. I mean, that was very rude. President Trump, you did promise us that we were going to go into the moon. What's happening? We're not in the moon. What's below the moon? Yeah, we're not at the moon right now. It feels bad. We're still on Earth. I thought you were friends with Elon. I thought you had rockets. I don't know what's going on. I thought we were going to the moon, and we haven't gone to the moon. So other than the price, I think the regulatory environment has definitely improved tremendously under the Trump administration. There's no denying that. Opti.
Yeah, I think this is incredibly bullish news right here. I think this administration has already gone above and beyond what they said they would do. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because a lot of people don't like Trump. But this is, it's hard to be more bullish on this story right here, or the elimination of what was it? What was the acronym here? NCFET or whatever. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. The fact we're seeing this happen and this administration, I think, is more data points to prove that more data points proving that this administration is going to be very favorable in regards to Bitcoin and, of course, the quote unquote digital asset sector. But I'd love to see this. And I think the next move is going to be rather to see what's going to happen with the Tornado Cash and what was the other Bitcoin mixer? The Samurai Wallet guys, because if they completely drop those cases, that's going to be a huge win that a lot of us Bitcoiners couldn't even imagine just by voting for Trump. And I like to see this. This is great. This is what a lot of Bitcoiners have been saying. This is what the open source devs have been saying for a long time, is like, you can't blame the developers for how people use the software. And now it seems like we might be seeing I don't know if this would be enshrined in law, but at least the old law of persecuting the developers is being slashed out. So I think this is extremely bullish. I'm very bullish on where we head after this. It's like hard to really not look at this and be like, this is very good news. This is very good news for Bitcoiners in America. I think this is very good news for Bitcoiners across the world. Now there's a precedent here in the US that now around the world, if you go after the developers, you're going after the wrong people. It's not about who creates the software. It's about how they use the software that is who should be persecuted. So I'm really hopeful that this starts to make ripples around the world. It's incredible that we can't put this in the title here because people wouldn't click it. Like, this is the most bullish news we've heard all week, or rather in a couple of weeks. Yes, the price is down. Yes, there's a strategic Bitcoin reserve talks, but the fact that they're no longer going after open source developers, this is great, man. This is awesome. Hopefully a lot of the Bitcoin wallet and even developers that left the US will, finally come back home, and we can start to use the tools, and we're not afraid of using these open source tools because of, some big bad boogeyman, and we're all going to be prosecuted for it. Like, this is extremely good news.
100%. I 100% echo what Opti is saying. And unfortunately, guys, the way that YouTube is structured and all that stuff, if you are to get a piece of good news from today's show, we were talking about, MicroStrategy situation and the price in the beginning. But if you are to get a piece of good news from today's show, is this, right? Like the fact that, Bitcoin entrepreneurs and Bitcoin developers are allowed to develop in the United States without fear of prosecution is a big effing deal. I can't emphasize that enough. Aladdin, as a Bitcoin entrepreneur yourself, a successful one, the best Bitcoin trading company, the largest the trading card company in the whole industry. I mean, I'm sure that this affected you too, man. I'm sure this affected your industry as your business as well. The outcome of this election. So, what are your thoughts on this? Essentially, this 180 from the Department of Justice relating to just getting rid of a department that the Biden administration came out of nowhere with the goal of just persecuting, people that, again, like, you guys have to understand something about Tornado Cash and Samurai. Tornado Cash and the Samurai developers didn't write that code so that criminals could use it. In fact, a very small percentage of the people that use Tornado Cash and Samurai were using it for illicit purpose. The vast majority of people were using it for privacy, right? So essentially they were saying, like, listen, you can't, privacy is illegal, which, according to the Fifth Amendment, I believe, which is no unreasonable search and seizure, like, it specifically protects you from that. But, like, it was total clown world. They didn't care. They were out for blood. Elizabeth Warren made it very clear she wanted a central bank digital currency. And they needed to create essentially a monopoly, no competition for that CBDC. I believe that was their motivations to go after Bitcoin. Aladdin, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, no, I think this kind of just brings it full circle of what I've been talking about. The more we get in the way of freedom, the more that the Trump administration starts actually allowing people to have their freedoms, the more we are going to get more of the everyday person to adopt Bitcoin. So I kind of look at it like we can go one of two ways. We either persecute people for being in Bitcoin and we make it as dangerous as possible for the everyday person to get into Bitcoin or even try to understand Bitcoin. And if that's the case, then big business, big money, big government comes in, takes over, and they reap the rewards. But if Trump is able to actually follow through on all these things he's doing, like free Assange, drop it all, open it up, Snowden, these freedom movements that he could potentially do, this would be the catalyst to really start opening the doors to getting the everyday person into Bitcoin. So I'm kind of on standing on a fence right now, just waiting to see which way it goes. I don't take promises for shit. They actually have to do what they say they're going to do. And then at that point, I believe it because I can see it. So this is kind of what I'm waiting for right now. And this will tell us, like, what direction that Bitcoin is going to go when it comes to this life raft. Is it something that is going to lift all ships that are already the ships controlling the world? Or is it going to lift some ships, which is the everyday person? And I think there's a lot, like, obviously, freeing the Samurai wallet and the Tornado Cash and all these kind of things. I mean, we are actually working on a project right now towards helping raise a bunch of awareness towards this. So this is obviously very important to us, our team, and myself personally. But I want to see them follow through with all these things. And the more they do with that, the more bullish I'm going to be that we're going to get the everyday person into Bitcoin. And I know I read in the chats and I see a lot of people say to have fun staying poor. And there's a lot of toxic maximalists out there. And you can get toxic on me all you want. I don't mind. But the fact is, like, the everyday person, that they've spent their life completely indoctrinated, and we can call them stupid, we can call them whatever we want, but I know so many beautiful, amazing people that just don't understand Bitcoin. And it's not because they're stupid. These are beautiful people. They've been indoctrinated. The Rothschilds literally created the education system, the social media, the news, everything they're getting hit with every day. Just because they're indoctrinated doesn't make these people bad people, and they don't deserve to be poor. They have just literally their brains have been twisted with all the shit that they are propagandized with every day. So I really like the mission that we are on, and we should all be on as Bitcoiners, is not to tell people have fun staying poor and go fuck yourself and all of this. Like, we have to have a little bit more compassion in our hearts and understand that we are so blessed and lucky to know what is going on right now. And this is like a massive gift, and whatever God or whatever you want to find it, this is a gift. And I think that we should be trying to give this gift to as many people as possible. So again, full circle, the more that Trump allows freedom in the Bitcoin space, the more we are allowed to transact freely. This is where the true catalyst of real adoption comes in. And this is where I start to get more and more bullish.
Dude, absolutely
bars.
inspiring from Aladdin. You guys heard it right here live. If you don't buy Bitcoin, you're going to have fun staying poor. No, man, but I completely agree. I completely agree, Aladdin. You have to have compassion. You have to have understanding. You have to understand the privilege that you have. Again, you do have a privilege, and I would say you do not only have a privilege for understanding Bitcoin, but you do also have a responsibility, in my opinion, to really wake up the people around you, to your left, to your right, your family members, and say, hey guys, you guys are getting distracted with the whole liberal versus conservative thing. The money's broken. You fix the money, you fix the world. So I 100% agree with Aladdin's message. Absolutely inspiring. Guys, speaking of Aladdin, speaking of one of his missions, speaking of his business, we're going to be talking about the BTC trading cards during the culture. We're going to be hitting that in just a moment, guys. So stay tuned. We will be right back. I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com.
Need liquidity without having to sell your Bitcoin? For more than 6 years now, Ledin has been the trusted choice for Bitcoin-backed lending with transparency, security, and trust at their core. I absolutely love these guys, and I personally have not only an account with them, but also a loan. And some of the key features that I love about Ledin is the fact that there are no monthly payments. You pay at the end of the term. You also have the ability to roll over the loan as well, and you can pay it back whenever you want. Essentially what they do is that they help their clients unlock the liquidity of their BTC, allowing you to hodl while still accessing the wealth of your Bitcoin. They've been battle tested with their focus on transparency, security, and trust, allowing them to build a proven track record of client success and security, helping tens of thousands of clients harness the value of their digital assets with confidence and peace of mind. Learn more about what your BTC can do for you. Check out ledin.io today.
All right, we are back. It's Simply Bitcoin Live. Smash that like button. We broke past our goal of 300 likes. So I'm going to up it 350 likes by the time the show ends. So smash that like button if you guys are enjoying the show. There's currently 2,800 of you guys watching live between YouTube and X. Smash that like button. And of course, shout out to the Rumble audience as well. Opti, we got Aladdin in the house. I heard rumors, speculation that we might possibly open a pack on today's show. Is that true?
Yes, this is true. This is true. But before we go to the actual cards and the new pack and all the stuff around the BTC trading cards, I think it would only be fitting, Aladdin, if we shift up what we wanted to talk about and you continue the conversation you just had. You've been telling us off the show, on this show for a long time of what the ultimate goal is for BTC trading cards, and that's bringing Bitcoin to the normies, or bringing Bitcoin to the average person. So let's start there, and then we can have a little fun, open some packs, and talk about our card and the new series and everything you guys got going on. But I think it would be fitting if we started there, because the chat really liked that bit you just did. So let's start there, and then we'll talk about the cards, and we'll do a live opening.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I mean, I've got 3 kids. 2 teenagers and a 4-year-old. So I get it from the different generations. And I do agree with so much of what the Bitcoin space is saying. the laziness is insane. Trying to balance my teenagers and how much they intake online, and we homeschool our kids, so we do everything we can to pull them away from the indoctrination, and we've done a pretty decent job. We're blessed with some really good kids, but yeah, these generations are broken. But I mean, it goes all the way through to Gen X. The addiction to social media is absolutely insane. People have literally completely broken time preferences. You got to hit them in 30 seconds. If you don't hit them in 30 seconds, they're over it. So we've got our work cut out for us. And I do agree that the laziness across the board is insane, but that's also mainly coming from, I think, people in the United States. Go outside the United States and the suffering is on a completely different level. And anybody that talks shit on a third world country with what those people are dealing with in the way of saying they're lazy and they're stupid, that's ignorant right there. So we need to do our part again. It comes down to having compassion. And if you're winning and you're not willing to share some of that win, at the very least, it's not hand your sats out or give your money away to charity, but your time is money. So being able to give a little bit of your time to people, give them a chance, that is so important. So that's what these cards are all about. It's breaking it down in a simple and quick of a capture of the person's time and attention as you can. Taking them off the internet is so huge. So you can talk to your friends, your family, your kids, whoever it is about Bitcoin, and you can shine your phone at them, but literally you're just shoving blue light in their eyes. And it's not really the best thing you can do. So as much as you can pull them out of the matrix and talk to them on a personal level, look them in the eyes, touch and feel something tangible, that's what these trading cards are. It's a physical, yeah, it's a piece of cardboard, but it's a piece of cardboard in the real world. And trading cards are so nostalgic. Some of the first transactions that most of us ever had was either marbles, pogs, or trading cards on the playground. So we literally learn currency. We learn about trading. We learn about how to interact with people, peer-to-peer transactions on the playground with these types of tools. And that's exactly what we've created. It's a tool. And yeah, you got to throw number go up in there. So these trading cards, with as scarce as they are, we go with the Bitcoin ethos. We are honestly as far as we know, and I've done at least 100 hours worth of research through my team on trying to figure out if there's any other trading card brands on earth that are 100% transparent, and I can't find it. So Pokemon is printing in the billions of packs, Topps and sports cards and all this shit, they're printing in the hundreds of millions, if not billions of packs. So is there any real scarcity to it? No. But people are collecting these thinking it's scarce. So the correlation between trading cards and fiat currency, it's amazing. And I really didn't even put these two things together when I was creating the idea behind this, but it's insane how perfect this project is to teach people about scarcity. And if they don't understand scarcity, and as much as most people may not realize, most people do not even know what scarcity means. If they did, they wouldn't be buying a pack or a box of Pokemon cards thinking that they're holding something collectible or scarce. It's collectible because the next person doesn't understand as much as you do, and you're going to sell them something that you know better than them, I guess. So you're literally selling something that has millions of copies. And with what we're doing, we're shaking it up the same way Bitcoin is shaking up the entire monetary system. We're shaking up the hobby. And we're bringing trading cards in the same way Bitcoin does, with 100% transparency, finite supplies, true scarcity to what we're doing. And the artwork is created by some of the most based Bitcoin artists, a team of my artists from around the world, from Argentina to Indonesia, that are all living through some of the worst financial crises ever, total inflation, total shit show. So the energy going into this artwork, it's not AI shit. It's not us going out and finding random people to slap some shit together. There is real passion being put into the artwork in every single card we create. So yeah, it's a mission that we're on, and we're taking bigger risks than anyone in trading cards would, and hopefully it pays off, because bigger risk, bigger the reward, but at the same time, the bigger the risk, the bigger the chance that we fail. So we're just throwing everything at it, and literally just trying to create the most base set of trading cards ever created and shake it up in our own way. And the last thing I'll say on it is I was pretty much out of school around the 7th grade. All I did was draw and write and study my own shit. The school just wanted me the hell out of there. As I am right now, I had a big mouth and I didn't mind telling them exactly what I thought. So they were like, shove them in whatever classroom they could, which was usually the library, and let them draw and get them the hell out of here. So I only really learned if the teacher made it fun. And if they didn't, I was out. So that's most of the premise, if not all the premise we put into this right here. If you can make education fun, people are a hell of a lot more willing to actually listen to what you have to say. And they're actually...
Oh my God, bro. We got a legend on today's show. Aladdin, first of all, dude, I applaud you for what you're doing. I've been a fan since day one. One of the things that we've always said on Simply is like, if we actually want to effectuate change, changing the culture is incredibly important. And culture, you know, it's comprised of all these different types of facets of its music, its video, its podcast, its trading cards, right? So, you know, imagine having those experiences as a kid, right? That, you know, when you have a memory as a kid, it's so memorable. You never forget it. Like you talk about Pokemon cards. I remember Pokemon cards because it's like part of my middle school or like, you know, younger, whatever. And you remember Charizard. Like you never forget that, right? Like think about something that you did 2 years ago. You probably forget what happened, right? But it was like those formative years. Now imagine instead of dealing with Pokemon cards, you're dealing with Bitcoin cards, right? And now you're essentially creating the new generation, the first generation of Bitcoiner that essentially was born into Bitcoin, right? We were born before Bitcoin. So like you can't say that we were Bitcoin native. We had to learn Bitcoin as adults, right? The first generation of kids being born now to Bitcoiners. I just had my first like about a year ago or so. Like she's probably going to take all my Bitcoin, number one. And number two, like she's already going to know from the onset, like fiat is bad. Bitcoin is good. Like those are lessons that she's going to be taught from a very early age. Like I remember one of the things that this like myth that we heard like as you know, as children, which is like money is the root of all evil. No, fiat money is the root of all evil. Like you could change it up, like, you know, so those things, right? Again, I'm so excited about the future, Aladdin. I think you have this pivotal role in this Bitcoin cultural movement / phenomenon that, you know, we're currently living through. And it's extremely exciting what you're doing, man.
Thank you, bro.
Opti, are we?
Yeah, well,
is it time?
It's time. Well, I think Aladdin could pull a card out, but you know, I'm just over here super hyped because Nico gave me one of these, and so let's transition this to the new pack because I got one here, the goated Nico Opti one. Wait, is it? It might not. I might have to like. Let's. Not gonna work. There we go. Also, Aladdin's been shaming me because I can't grow a mustache this strong, but look at that strong mustache right there. If only I could. If only I could. Anyways, Aladdin, let's talk about this new pack release or this new box coming out while I fix my camera again.
Oh, that's the only card you have to share. So you got to take it out of the case in order to
there we go.
Damn. Wait, is that the one out of 210 or the one out of 500?
This is the out of 500. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, guys, I look so handsome with the mustache. I'm being shamed in real life.
You really do, man. I mean, you're just gonna have to like start shaving every day, even though it's not
I need to put that like stuff that makes your hair grow. I just saw my.
Oh man, can we do a rip of a pack, Aladdin, on air?
We can. I just want to show a couple things real quick to give everyone an idea of these cards and this set specifically. So this set is Warriors versus Villains, and again, I try to talk to as many people I can about Bitcoin, about just everything going on. And there's so many topics that are so difficult for people to understand. So literally, this is what we put in these cards. And again, the most based trading cards on Earth. So if you can see that, that's the IMF. So then on the back, it's going to give you a little breakdown about the IMF and just what these mega thieves are all about. If you've never read the book, The Economic Hitman, it's literally a life changer. It was one of the ones that brought me into everything that all the rabbit holes I went down. So The Economic Hitman, so important for people to understand. I'll show one last one. This is the WEF. Right. So in order to get people to take a moment and start to understand these things, I mean, anyone that isn't completely brain dead would find out about the WEF and understand that it is just the scariest shit in the entire world and should never exist. So that's what these cards are all about, is literally breaking down these subjects, more red pill, honestly, than orange pill in a lot of ways, because again, the way we feel is if we don't have freedom, then what the hell is Bitcoin going to do for us? So it is about freedom adoption first, and then the Bitcoin success and the bright orange future will come true. Otherwise, we will have a Bitcoin fiat value that is through the roof, but we have no freedom. And I mean, what the hell good does that do? So there's my rant on that, and let's pick a pack for you guys. So Nico and Opti, which way do we go? Warriors or villains?
Ooh.
Do we want to see ourselves get pulled, or let's do villains?
Well, I mean, everything's random, so it's literally just the wrapper.
All right, let's go villains. Let's go villains. I'm in the villain arc right now since we're poor and the Bitcoin price is crashing. Villain arc confirmed.
Excellent. Okay.
I need the music.
And the only thing I would have done different with this set is I would have made the wax a little bit more doable.
All right.
Okay. Because you got to cut them open with a scissor. So we got Bitco Yanowski.
The goat.
Proof of work. That is the tyrant right there.
Is that Opti?
Kenny Florin. So this is literally, we capture the pop culture.
I love
of Bitcoin, and we put
it's so great, dude. Oh, there's that's the face card, right? The shiny one.
No, so this is just one of the foils. So again, there's only 21,000 packs done once a year, the finite supply, and then we go with a completely different theme, completely new art all the way around. So in these sets, the worst card you're going to get it is an out of 1,000, which is pretty incredible. Those were the 3 base cards. This is a Bitcoin orange out of 210. Oh. So you're getting 3 base cards, and then the other 6 cards are going to be these foil parallels. And then from the foil parallel, you're going to get your actual hit, and that's the last card of the pack. So this is one of my favorites here. Shout out to World of Rusty.
Shouts out to World of Rusty.
Price of tomorrow. So this is a 421. And what do we got here? The Bitcoin card. This is a silver parallel out of 669. Rumble. Shout out to everyone on Rumble. So getting to collab with Rumble was amazing. Super honor to be able to have these guys in the pack. So this is a resource card, and it lets you know about Rumble and gets people to understand the options that are out there versus the horrible corporate Google shit. This is private key versus public key, and that is a Nostr purple that we created. So that's out of 700. Oh, damn, and damn is right after. So definitely big shout out to Nostr and the Nostr community. And then this is the final hit card right here. And boom. Sam Bankman fraud. So we've got the scammers card. And this is the villain card. And it's the snake oil salesman. And it's the thing that honestly wrecks the majority of people that come into Bitcoin. And that is the scammers. And this card is a 367 out of 500.
Let's go. Hey, Aladdin, let's talk about what you were telling me before the show about how, and I forget how you framed it, like, but the people that you printed this card with, they were giving you guys so much parade for just like how awesome these cards are. Can you tell that story real quick before we sign off today? Because it didn't really make sense to me. It's like I'm not much of a card guy. You know, I love this card because I'm on it, obviously, but I think it's very important to tell the people just like these aren't just incredible because they're Bitcoin cards. Even other card people are like, yo, this is really high quality stuff.
Yes, I mean, when you build in the Bitcoin ethos and you put the proof of work out there the way that we do with these cards, you get rewarded. So the card company that we work with that prints these, It's the second largest printer in the entire world. So these guys print for basically just about everyone out there. And to have them print our cards is pretty amazing. So when it comes to the validity of what we're doing, and even we have this thing that we did where we went the extra mile, that orange pill on there actually has a fingerprint stamp, so tamper proof. Basically, you would have to actually break into the facility and find that stamp in their vault, steal the stamp in order to actually try and knock off what we're doing. But then we literally go to complete other heights when it comes to our print. And we literally spent every extra dime that we had all the way across all of our assets in order to print potentially one of the nicest sets that have ever been printed. So this is the Bitcoin chase card right here. This is an Epic Ice, just to give you an example. And basically what we did is we went so far above and beyond with the printer. We asked them, what can we do? And this is something that really got them excited, because they're used to the big print companies that print literally hundreds of millions of packs of trading cards, and they send them the files and it's a go. Where with us, we're literally trying to push every envelope we can and say, what options do we have to create something that is far beyond any other trading cards in the world, because Bitcoin is far beyond any other money that has ever been created in the world. So the cards have to do the same thing. And with this set, we impressed the printer to the point where we were actually awarded part of their championship program, where they choose 2 to 3 companies a year out of around 35,000 customers to be a part of this championship program. And now the second largest printer in the world, because we're part of this program, they are putting a marketing strategy behind us to use us as an example for new customers for them, on just how far they can go as a printer, and really showcase Bitcoin trading cards to potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people around the world, mainly companies, but this will get us front and center in front of more people than we could have ever dreamed of. So to have the printer that works with, again, the biggest trading card companies in the world stand behind us like this, and we were able to impress them to this point, is one of the biggest honors we could ever have.
That's super cool, man. That's absolutely awesome. Sorry guys, we are getting scam botted right now in our chat right now, so don't follow any of that stuff that is now going live in there. Mods, please clean up the chat. Bot attack on YouTube. Okay,
right, we are getting to the top of the hour, and I do want to thank Aladdin for joining us on Simply Bitcoin Live today. Guys, go check out the latest pack. Go to btc-tc.com. These guys do incredible work. Every card is handcrafted. It's a piece of art. I can't emphasize that enough. Looks absolutely incredible. And go check out what they do. BTC Trading Cards. Guys, this was Simply Bitcoin Live for April 8th of 2025. I'm your host today, Nico, my legendary co-host, always optimistic. Maybe not, but it's pessimistic as of late.
realistic fields.
Realistic Fields, and of course, our special guest today, Aladdin, the founder of BTC Trading Cards. If you guys enjoyed today's show, make sure to smash that like button. Consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. Until then, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, everybody.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.